Okay, so I've been using Tonal for about 7 months now. I got it in December, I think, of 2019 or so. One reason I've taken so long to review it is because I wanted to use it a lot. I wanted to get other people's opinions on it, and because I wanted to see what else is out there. This is kind of something new, obviously, to the home gym market, and there's not a lot to compare it to yet, although I think there are some coming about. Now, I want to make it clear here, I am very much a barbell guy. However, this, without a doubt, has changed my mind as far as all-in-one home gym units and kind of what I feel like is the future for most people in their fitness training life. Now, I want to start at the very beginning. This is a very expensive device. It is, kind of for early adopters. This is one of the first versions. That doesn't mean it's a beta version. That just means that it's one of the earlier versions. These are going to improve over time, and they're also going to lower in price over time. But because it's expensive, the entire process from the very beginning, even of receiving it, is higher end. For instance, they have a white glove install process where they don't even allow you to install this yourself. You have to have somebody come out, which is included in the price, come out, unbox it, and install it for you. It's included in the price that you pay for the unit. So you have somebody that comes out, installs it, and then you're able to use it. Now, I will say that since I moved, I had to deinstall it or deconstruct it. I don't know, what's the term for deinstall, Sam?
Uninstall?
Uninstall. Thank you. I had to uninstall it and then reinstall it on this wall, and I will say this thing is extremely heavy. You wouldn't know it just looking at it. It just looks like a TV, but there is so much, hardware and different things packed into this that you wouldn't believe it. It's got to be, what would you say, a couple 100 pounds?
Yeah.
Or so. I mean, it's crazy. So understand that this has to be installed on studs. The reason they do a white glove service is because there's just so much involved in it. Now, I want to start with the hardware. The hardware on this thing, I think, is second to the software, only because the software is pretty outstanding. The hardware itself, it's nice. I will say there's a lot of plastic on here. So when it comes to the arms, for instance, it's basically a big functional trainer. The arms that actuate up and down, sideways, and then they go vertical as well. They're just like, there's all these different ways that you can move the arms to accommodate pretty much any type of workout or movement. Because they're made of plastic, there is quite a bit of creaking that happens. So when you move them and you're starting to pull on the machine, everything like that, it does start to make some noises that are kind of unsavory. It doesn't, cause me to think hey, this is a cheap device, it's made cheaply. It's just that because it uses so much plastic, which really may be the best option for this, it does start to creak. Because you have to think, this device can do up to 100 pounds of tension per arm. So that's 200 pounds total on a device that's strapped to the wall in a very compact form factor, and then you're pulling against these arms that are out like this, right? So there's gonna be some creaking there. But the way that the hardware is set up, it feels premium. There's a lot of aluminum on some of the connector pieces, and the way that you adjust it, it's cable-based, so it's completely cable-based all throughout the system. And then the way that the tension is done, I believe, is through magnets. I'm not sure about this. I don't think this is something they really talk about. I will say one of the things that I was very impressed by from the very beginning is the consistency of the pull. So whereas with weight stacks, if you really pull it really hard, it's gonna jump the weight stack because it's gravity based. Because this isn't gravity based, the concentric and the eccentric feels more smooth and more consistent than anything I've used. Okay, but moving on from the hardware to the software. The software, in my opinion, is really what I think makes the system. It's fine that this is on the wall and you can use it. I think that's great, and if it just came like that, I would definitely use it if I could select the weights. But I think for most people, and the reason that I think this is the future of fitness, smart home gyms are, is because it's basically a guided workout. So when you go to, sit down at your home and you watch Netflix, you just go on there, you pick a video, and it plays for you. This is very similar. It's basically Netflix for training. So the idea is you basically have a trainer in your home that you can use any time of day. You don't have to pay per session. You're paying a monthly subscription fee to use the service, and it's just always there and ready to be used. And because of that, in the simplicity and ease of use, I think this is going to be widely adopted eventually when the price gets down. Because here's the thing, you walk in, you turn the system on, you can either turn the button on top or you just tap on the screen. It pulls up this beautiful display that then has these rotating, basically video cards. You then select your workout. If you're on a program, you can follow the program for weeks. And they're basically determined on what your goals are. So like I did one that was hypertrophy based. It was, I think, 6 weeks or so. And just every day, like I think it was 4 or 5 days a week, I came in. And there's a lot of gamification that's involved to like keep you working out. But you walk in, you click your program for the day, it pulls up. There's this, they've got these great looking trainers that pop up. They're talking about the workout. It selects your weight for you. You're not doing the weight selection. It tells you, hey, you're using this weight for this movement because we basically tested you in previous movements and this is what your weight should be. It then tracks your reps for you, so you're not, doing any sort of rep tracking type or writing things out. Everything is housed within the system, and all you have to do is touch a button and do the work. Now, one of the unique things that they offer is called a strength score. And that strength score, they're determining what your strength score is based upon the amount of weight you lift, the volume, everything like that. I think it's out of like 1,000. My strength score is 956. Yo, Adrian, I did it! No big deal. But the strength score is something that they use to determine, one, how strong you are against most of their users. So I think the average for males is like 350 to 450. The average for females is like 150 to 250. So I'm well above average. But that strength score is then going to determine what weights you use on your training. So like I said, it determines your weights for you, and that's all based upon your strength score. They're increasing your load on like the down of the rep, the eccentric portion of the rep, and then they're lowering the weight. So for the concentric, it's lighter. So concentric, so say I'm doing a bicep curl, it's lighter, and then it dials up the weight based upon where the proximity of your arm is to the ground. It doesn't like, you don't have to say, hey, turn on the eccentrics. It automatically does it, and then on the way down, it increases the weight. It can also do chains, which is the opposite. So it increases the concentric portion of the movement. So basically it's heavy as you're coming up, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier as you're coming up, like if there were chains on a barbell, and then as you're coming down, it loosens it or lightens the load as you're coming down. Those are all things that are done absolutely automatically. You don't have to think about them. You don't have to add anything. And it's just in the system. Now, when it comes to actually training, I've done a few different programs on here, and I've done some one-offs. The programming and the training is good. They're using good trainers. That is one area that I think they can definitely improve. So because there's so much different fitness content that could be made, they're still trying to, in my opinion, figure out their stride. The trainers are trying to figure out their voice. Like sometimes it's a little gimmicky.
Welcome back to another Go Big or Go Home leg day. Now when Arnold famously said, "Get to the chopper," he was serious, and failure meant death.
It's just kind of weird stuff like that feels very artificial. That's things that will come with time. I doubt Action Jackson is an actual actor. He's probably a trainer who can also act. So I think that stuff improves, it's going to make the experience better. But other than that, I mean, you show up, you turn it on, you change the arms, you follow what they're saying, and it's ready to go. Now, I will say one thing I don't like about it is it's not live classes. It's just you with pre-recorded training. So it's very much like a YouTube video that's shot in their studio, made for this 9:16 aspect ratio, and then you do your movements following the training. So it's like cool that you can follow them and they show the movements being done on the screen, they're tracking everything. But the issue is because it's not live, it has a different feeling from, say, a Peloton where you're in a live class competing against others. I would guess that they ultimately have a goal of offering live classes. One reason is because there's actually a camera at the top of the system that's not utilized yet, that they have no features for, and I would guess they're future-proofing so that in the future they can add classes, and then when they add live classes, they'll use that, and you can work one-on-one with a trainer, or you can compete against people one-on-one or like in a class for strength and all those different things. That gamification where people are competing is going to be something that I think can take this to another level, because that's one of my favorite features of Peloton, is getting on there, seeing the leaderboard, and me trying to, like, you know, careen and beat everybody else on there. Now, I've made a controversial statement a few times, and that was, I think that the future of fitness is home gyms. The future of fitness is home gyms, not because I think most people are going to have big squat racks, barbells, plates, kettlebells, dumbbells, all of that in their garage. The reason I think the future of fitness is going to happen in the home gym is because of options like this. These are simply too good. And anytime I tell somebody that's barbell focused how good this is, they always think I'm an idiot until they use it, okay? I get it. When you look at it, it's like, it's just a screen, it's chintzy. This isn't hardcore with a squat rack, 11 gauge steel, 200,000 tensile strength on the bar. You know, like, I get it. Like, I'm into that stuff too. I love that stuff. That's what I review for a living. However, for most people, they don't have interest in that. Trust me, that's how my wife is. The reason I know this is gonna work is because my wife doesn't love training, yet she loves tonal. But the reason I think these are the future is because that's it, right there. You can put that in an apartment in New York City, you can put that in a studio, you can put that in your garage, you can put it where I am, in my laundry room, in like an 8x8, 9x9 room. It's like, you can put it anywhere. And it works extremely well. This is why I think it's the future of fitness. Because you don't have to think about it. You walk in, you pay your subscription fee like you would going to a gym. You don't have to go to a gym, get dirty, everything like that. You right by all your food, by your shower. It's the reason home gyms are so great, but it takes the home gym and also gives you a personal trainer in your home to access anytime. And you can compete against anybody. I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, if I could invest in Tonal, I would. Now, not everything's perfect. And I've already said a few things I'd like to see improved. One is I don't like the cheesiness of the trainers. I know that I'll improve. Two, I think the programs, there could be more programs. Three, the weight is a little bit light for like lower body movements if you're very strong. I'm not saying like I'm a world-class deadlifter, but 200 pounds on deadlift, if you're doing a ton of reps, it's fine, or squats, but it's just too light in my opinion. So I use it primarily for upper body movements. So that's why I think, but for most people, trust me, it's going to be strong enough. And 200 pounds on this feels a lot different than 200 pounds on a bar. And then lastly, the accessories that come with it are good. The handles, for instance, they use Bluetooth. So you can basically get the weight up, unloaded, click a button, the weight will load, and then you can start doing your movement. I think it's awesome. Same thing with the bar, although the knurling on the bar is eh. But the one thing that really does suck about this is the bench. The bench is an Amazon Basics bench, basically with a tonal like scripted into it. The bench just sucks. I don't even know. I guess they're just including it because it's like people will use a bench, but it just feels so much different from this. It's just like something you need for it, but it sucks and it doesn't compare, and it brings like the feeling of the system down. They made it try to feel premium, but it's very much not. It sucks. Okay, so I would like to see that improved. Outside of that, like, there's other things they could offer, like the leaderboards and that sort of thing, but I mean, I'm impressed. And this is the thing, I'm the garage gym review guy. I review squat racks and barbells and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's what I have in my gym. I've got a 3-car garage full of it. I got 3,000 square foot studio full of it. But this is too good to ignore. So if you're like looking for this sort of thing, understand it's expensive. It's like above $3,000, then you got to pay $50 a month. So it is expensive. It's less expensive than a trainer. So it's quite a bit. But if you've got the money to spend and you want to get fit and you don't want to think about it and you want to put it in a small space at your home, that would honestly save you money versus going to a gym, because you got all the maintenance of your car, the cost of driving, the time spent, the cost of the membership, all that sort of thing. Then this is it. I mean, I'm blown away. All right, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. All you barbell savants out there, is this something you'd ever even consider, or is this basically sacrilegious? Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.